what's popping and dropping is, look at this, y'all. It's exciting. I made an envelope with it. So you open up the envelope, and then we have this. Do you know what it is? Any guesses? Well, let's see what it is. So we take the little straps off, and we open it up, and we have a record player, y'all. It's a pop-up card record player. And the cool part about this is we can add a music message with it because we're going to use the QR reader. So let's do that. So I scanned it, and let's see what our message is. So isn't that cool? While they're listening to this, let's turn this down a little. They can see that this moves. Isn't that cool? Also, our record spins. And then we can pull it out, and we have another record, but on the back, we have a place where we can write a message to them. Isn't that cool, guys? So why don't we go ahead and we can head over to Design Space, and I'm going to show you how we can make this record player pop-up card. So let's go. I'll meet you there. Okay guys, now that we're here in Design Space, let's go to Shapes. We're going to get a square. We are going to make that square 5 by 8. We're going to place the square, the X and the Y at 1. Then we're going to go to Shapes and get a score line. We're going to make that score line 5 inches in height. We'll rotate it 90 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 1.5. Then we can duplicate that, and we're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 5. Then we can duplicate that again, and we can place the X at 1 and the Y at 5.5. Then we can grab everything and then go down to the bottom and click on Attach. Then we can go to Shapes and get another square. We are going to make it 5 by 4.5. We're going to place the X and the Y at 1. Then let's go to Shapes and get a score line. We're going to place the first score line. We're going to make it 5 inches in height. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 1.5. Then we'll duplicate it, and we'll place the X at 1 and the Y at 2. And then we'll grab it all and then go down to the bottom and click on Attach. Guys, now let's go to Shapes. Once we get to Shapes, we're going to get a circle. We're going to make that circle 2.623 by 2.626. We're going to place the X at 1.445 and the Y at 1. Then we'll get a square. We're going to make it 3.514 by 3. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 2.411. Then we're going to grab them both and then go down to the bottom and click on Slice. And then once we have that, we're going to have this piece here, which is going to be our pocket. This piece I cut out, and because I'm using a pretty piece of paper, and it doesn't have anything the pretty on the back side. So if you don't want a blank space and you want it to match, this is what you'll use this piece for. So we'll go to Shapes and get a square. We're going to make it 5 by 3.5, and that's it. And we can go ahead and move that piece aside. We're going to go to Shapes. We're going to get a square. We're going to make that square 0.111 by 1.972. Let's place our X at 1.106 and our Y at 1. And that's going to be our orange piece back there. And then we can duplicate that square and just adjust it to 0.3 by 0.078. And then And then we're going to place the X at 1.001 and the Y at 1.147. Then we'll duplicate that square and we're going to place the X at 1.001 and the Y at 1.342. Then let's grab those two squares we just made and we're going to group them together. And then we're going to place that group, the X at 1 and the Y at 1.512. Then let's duplicate that 2 again. And we're going to place the next one, the X at 1 and the Y at 1.876. Then duplicate it again. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 2.239. Then duplicate it one more time and we're going to place that last one, the X at 1 and the Y at 2.592. Then once we have that, we can grab everything and then go down to the bottom and click on Weld. And then we should have a piece that looks like this. So let's move that aside. Then let's go to Shapes and we are going to get a pennant. And we are going to make that pennant 0.542 by 0.75. We're going to rotate it 180 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 1. Then we can right click, duplicate that pennant, and we're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 3.618. Then we're going to go to Shapes and get a square, and we're going to make that square 0.542 by 2.25. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 1.535. Then we're going to grab it all and then go down to the bottom and click on Weld. And then we should have a solid piece that looks like this. Now we're going to take this piece that we just made. So you're going to go ahead and rotate it 90 degrees. And we are going to adjust the size to 1.5 by 0.376. And we're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 1. And then we're going to go to Shapes. We're going to get a score line. We're going to make that score line 0.375. We're going to place the X at 1.375 and the Y at 1. Then let's duplicate that score line. We're going to place the X at 2.125 and the Y at 1. Then let's grab them both and then go down to the bottom and click on Attach. And then we're going to right click, duplicate, and then we're going to grab both of those and right click, duplicate again. So we'll have a total of 4, and then we can group the two sets together. And then we can move this piece aside. Go to Shapes. We're going to get a square. We're going to make that square 0.542 by 9.875. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 1. Then we're going to go to Shapes and get a pennant. We're going to make it 0.542 by 0.75. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 10.667. Then we'll grab them both and then go down to the bottom and click on Weld. And then we should have a piece that looks like this. So now what we're going to do is just resize this piece here. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 1, and we're going to adjust it to 0.4 by 7.375. Then we're going to go to Shapes. We're going to get a score line, and make sure your round piece is at the top. And we're going to place that first score line, the X at 1 and the Y at 425. And then we'll get another score line. We're going to make it 0.4. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 4.75. We'll grab it all and then go down to the bottom and click Attach. And then we're going to right click, duplicate, because we'll need 2 of these. And each of these straps get 2 of these. So if you want, you can group those together, and then we can go ahead and move those aside. For our gold piece like this that we made, we need to adjust it to 0.211 by 1.379, and then we're going to go to shapes and we're going to get a square. We're going to make it 0.359 by 0.146, and then you can place it anywhere on this piece and then just group it together. Before we do that, right click, duplicate this white piece, and we're going to need it. And then we can group the two pieces we just made and move it aside. Then we're going to go to shapes. We're going to get a square. We're going to make it 0.078 by 1.379. And then you'll take this and we can right click, duplicate it, and then we'll have it like so, and then group it together, and then right click, duplicate, and then you just need to change your black to whatever color you want. I'm going to do gray, gold, and black for mine. And then we have our three pieces done for this. Then let's go to shapes and we're going to get a square. We're going to make that square 0.654 by 0.654. We're going to place the X at 1 and then the Y at 1. So we're going to get a circle. We're going to make that circle 0.125 by 0.125. And then if we grab our circle and our square and put it in the inside of it, and then go up to align and then align center, and then we go down to the bottom and click on slice, it will cut a hole in it like that, and that's what we need. And we can go ahead and move that piece aside. Then we're going to go to shapes. We'll get a circle. We're going to make it 0.506 by 0.506. Then you can duplicate that circle, and we're going to adjust this one to 0.653 by 0.653, and choose whatever colors you would like. And then we can group those, and then go up to the top, align center, and then group it and move it aside. And then we're going to go to shapes. We're going to get another circle 1.039 by 1.033, and then we're going to duplicate that circle and we're going to adjust it to 0.164 by 0.156, and then we'll grab them both, go up to the top to align center, and then once we have it centered, go down to the bottom and click on slice, and then we have that piece there. And then this piece, we're going to go to shapes and we're going to get a half circle. We're going to adjust it to 0.335 by 0.899. We'll rotate it 90 degrees. We'll place the X at 1.718 and the Y at 4.771. And then we can right click, duplicate, and then we're going to place this one at 1.714 and the Y at 5.356. And then once we have it, you can grab them both and then go down to the bottom and click on weld. And then this will go inside this piece like so. And then you can grab them both and group them. Now for our record, let's go to shapes. We're going to get a circle. We're going to make that circle 3.053 by 3.057. Go and get another circle. We are going to make it 0.083 by 0.083. Then we'll grab them both, go up to align center. Then we're going to go down to the bottom and click on slice. Then we should have a hole just like so. Now if you have a debossing tool, I'm going to give you the rings that makes it look like there's lines on your record. And if you don't have one, you can go ahead and skip this part. So we're going to get a circle. We are going to make it 2.838 by 2.838. We're going to place the x at 1.113 and the y at 1.121. Then we can right click duplicate. We're going to make the ring 2.609 by 2.609. We're going to place the x at 1.218 and the y at 1.244. Then we can duplicate it. We're going to adjust the circle to 2.421 by 2.421. We're going to place the x at 1.315 and the y at 1.32. Then we'll get another circle. We're going to adjust it to 1.402 by 1.402. We're going to place the x at 1.832 and the y at 1.845. Then we'll get another circle. We're going to adjust it to 2.011 by 2.011. We're going to place the x at 1.512 and the y at 1.517. Then we're going to get another circle. We're going to make it 2.221 by 2.221. We're going to place the x at 1.396 and the y at 1.415. Then we'll get another one and we're going to make it 1.852 by 1.852. We're going to place the x at 1.598 and the y at 1.593. Then we'll get another circle. We're going to make it 1.633 by 1.633. We're going to place the x at 1.719 and the y at 1.714. And then our last one, we're going to make 1.156 by 1.156. We're going to place the x at 1.957 and the y at 1.971. Then if we go over to our layers panel and we grab each one of those circles we made, not our solid piece, not our record, and then we'll go up to operation and then we can change it to deboss. And it should say deboss on each of those. And then we're just going to grab everything and then go down to the bottom and click on attach. This piece, what I like to do is I cut this one out in vinyl, which gives it a kind of a shiny look. And I cut another one out in paper. The same thing again. I'm going to duplicate this again. And then this one will go in our pocket. And this one will go on our record player. So then what we can do is go ahead and group all these pieces together and go ahead and move them aside. So now let's go to shapes and let's get a square. We're going to make that square 0.347 by 5.736. We'll rotate it 25.29 degrees. Let's place the x at 1.002 and the y at 1. Then we're going to go to shapes and get a circle. We're going to make it 0.462 by 0.462. We're going to place the x at 1 and the y at 5.745. Then we're going to grab them both and then go down to the bottom and click on slice. Circle and then go down to the contour button. And then we're going to get rid of these two, one of these pieces, it doesn't matter. Whichever one you don't get rid of, you need to go up to the layers. And here is the piece that I need to get rid of. So I'll right click, delete, and then it got rid of it. Now let's click on our long stick, go to contour, and we're going to get rid of this piece right here. So now we should have just a smooth edge here. So then let's grab it all and then go down to the bottom and click on weld. Now we have a solid piece. Now making sure our peach piece is still, the x is at 1.426 and the y at 1.347. Let's go to shapes. We're going to get a circle. We're going to make it 0.611 by 0.611. We'll place the x at 3.75 and the y at 1. Then we're going to get a square. We're going to make it 0.768 by 0.317. We're going to rotate it 332.33 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.002 and the Y at 6.162. Then we're going to grab it all and then go down to the bottom and click on Weld. Now our peach piece, we need to put the X at 3.002 and the Y at 0.819. Then we're going to go to Shapes. We're going to get a square. We're going to make it 1.725 by 0.741. We'll rotate it 335.46 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.75 and the Y at 5.89. Then we'll grab it all and then go down to the bottom and click on Weld. And then we should have a piece that looks like this. Our blue piece, the X should be at 1.722 and the Y on 0.838. Then we're going to go to Shapes and we're going to get an oval. We're going to make one oval 0.36 by 1.469. Let's rotate it 338.38 degrees. We'll place the X at 2.277 and the Y at 6.102. Then we can duplicate that oval, but we're going to adjust it to 0.363 to 1.483. We're going to rotate it 338.38 degrees. We're going to place the X at 2.38 and the Y at 6.205. Then let's take the two ovals and grab them and then go down to the bottom and weld them together. Let's take our blue piece and our yellow piece and then go down to the bottom and click on Slice. And then we'll click the yellow piece, go to Contour, and we're going to get rid of this top piece there. Then let's grab it all and then go down to the bottom and click on Weld. And then we should have something that looks like this. We're just going to adjust it to 1.6 and it should change your height to 2.371. We're going to make that circle 0.034 by 0.034. We're going to place that 4.169 and the Y at 6.694. Then our needle piece, we're going to place the X at 2.68 and the Y at 6.615. Then we'll grab them both and go down to the bottom and click on Slice. And then we should have this piece and it's completed now. Our last thing we need to do is we're going to get a square, 4.5 by 5.5 square. We're going to rotate it 45 degrees. We're going to place the X at 1.464 and the Y at 1.464. Then we're going to go up to Operation and we're going to change it to Score Line. Then we're going to go to Shapes. We're going to get a square. We're going to make it 8 by 8. We're going to place the X at 1 and the Y at 1. Then we're going to grab it all and then go down to the bottom and click on Attach. And this will be our envelope. Guys, so here are all the basic pieces we need to make this card. Don't forget to go up and name and save your project and add any extra pieces that you would like to add. So why don't we go ahead and get these pieces cut out and then I'll meet you at the craft table and we'll put it together. I'll see you there. Okay guys, now that we're at the table, why don't we get our pieces, there's 3 of them, to make our base of our record player. So if you're using pretty paper that has nothing on the back, I added an extra sheet in there to cover up the white on the inside. So we have this scored section and then this line, and we want it down facing our right. And then with nothing but a nice smooth edge with no score lines, we want it on our left hand side. And we're just going to line this edge up with the edge of this score line. We're just going to bump it right up to it. Okay? So why don't we go ahead and do that? And I think this week I'm going to use tape for this. So that's how it will look. This piece will lay flat into it like so, and it should hit right at that score line or this card right here.
where we just taped on. So this folded edge is going to sit right inside of this, let's see, there you go, inside this edge here. Okay, so we can go ahead and put tape or glue down. Now you can lay it flat like so. See how everything is laid flat, and we could just fold this to the bottom here. And this way, when we do it like this, it will be able to lay flat inside of our card. So if you want the pretty thing on top so everything matches the pretty piece, now is the time to go ahead and place it on. Alright, so now we have all pretty paper all over, which is looking so cute. And now what we can do is just get our pieces out for our record player. We are going to need 2 brads, and what I did is, for my record, if you have the debosser on your machine, I put it on the vinyl too, but once you get your vinyl on your record, if you take something, and I just take this here, and you go over it, it makes it really show where the lines are on a record player or on a record. I don't know if you can see those. Let's see, about right here. Yeah, there you go. Now you can kind of, when I move it, see the lines in it. And that's just if you want to make your record shiny. So we got that done. Then for the centerpiece, that's what this piece is for. You'll need the 2 white pieces, and that will go on top of that. And the same thing for this guy here. I just did the opposite color. Now for our pocket, you're just going to put a little glue along your edges here. I didn't do any at the top on this side, just the U section. And it's about 1/8 of an inch, I think I did, from this section where it folds. So I center it, and it's about that far off from the fold. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And on my one that I put in the pocket, I do use a light paper, so you'll be able to see the writing, handwriting on it. We want to get our record on. So I just kind of center it to where I want it. Take some sort of sharp object and then poke a hole in it. and I mean that's a teeny tiny hole that you probably can't even see it on the camera. And then I'm going to take my brad and put it through the record and then punch it through like so. And then I just put my hand underneath and feel where the brad is at, and then just pull the brad down on each side. And when you do pull the brad down, you don't want it really tight because the record won't be able to spin. So now that we have our record on, what we can do is get our little square piece with the hole and figure out where we want to put. I'm going to put mine about right there. So I'm just going to take my little pin, poke a hole where I want it, and take my brad, find my little hole I made, and push it the rest of the way through. So now I have a hole there. I'm going to set the brad down and get our little square piece. We're going to put a little bit of glue around it. And then we're going to center it in our hole that we punched over here. Then once we have our little square piece on, we'll get our arm for our record player, put our brad through it, and then go ahead and just push it through. And then just separate your brad to each side of the card. And again, just don't do it really tight or it won't be able to move. Alright. So our record player is moving and our little arm is moving. And then that's what the little levers look like right here. For the inside, I just put right there, is scored, we can find them, lines on the front of where these can go. So they're placed in the center. So this one goes about right here. But what I like to do is you can take a pencil or something, and I just like to make it a little round. And then your score lines, you just give it a little fold at each end. So it'll stand up like that. Okay. And then when you have your guide here, the score line, to help you be able to line it up. So you can just put a little glue on each end of your tabs and then place it down. And then there are two little lines here to help you guide where your strap should go, so it's kind of centered. There is also two score lines where it should fold across your box. So you want to glue the flat part on the back here where there's the flat edge. Once you get yours lined up, so We're going to place this edge here, but get it lined up in the center of our 2 score lines. And that's in the center. We'll just take in a little glue and glue this end down. So I'm just going to do a little smidge right there, like so. Lining them up. I think this time I'm going to glue up until my first score line. So it's not flapping around on the bottom. And then we're just going to do the same thing with the other side with this one. And then you'll just put a little glue on your little straps here, and they will sit just like that. I'm going to give mine a little curl in the middle. Guys, in case you haven't done one of these envelopes before, what we're just going to do is score the lines on here. So let's do that. So once you have these all scored on these triangle section over here, we're just going to cut those out. And once you have these scored, we just fold them up like so. And then for this point here, I'll just take this tool and get it to where I want it, and then just fold it back, and then I'll just snip this edge off. And then you can, if you're unsure, you can put a little light line here on each side so you know where you can place your glue or tape. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay guys, now that we've gotten our envelope done, our card's going to fit very nicely inside of this. I just wanted to let you know that the links below for the QR creator, which is free, that will generate your QR code. And then SpeakPipe is where I recorded my message. It is free, but you do have to sign up with your email address. If you're unsure how to make it, then I'm going to link a video that I've also done it in another card to show you step-by-step instructions. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and finish up my card, and then I'll be right back to show you what I've done. Okay guys, look at this. This is our cute little envelope, and this is what I came up for the rest of my card. You open it up, and we have a cute little handle here, and I did some embellishments on it, and then our straps, and I did some more embellishments on the top. And then we take our little straps out, and we have our little arm that moves, and our little record spins. I just think that's so cute. And then of course we can pull our record out and a place to write a message on the back. On here I just wrote, any way you spin it, you're the best. And on the front You're number 1 on my chart. And then let us not forget our QR code that we can scan. And it plays our music. I just think this has turned out so cute, guys. And we have a nice little way to add music to our little record player. Have you guys heard about a chocolate record player? Me either, but it sounds pretty sweet. Guys, I just want to say thank you so much for stopping by and crafting with me. Don't forget to stop by next week to see what's popping and dropping.